Hey everybody, and welcome to our early comics review video. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best DC, Image, and
I think that's
Batcave,
yeah.
and a couple other books that are releasing this Wednesday. So it's a little bit different this week because we went over the Marvel stuff yesterday on our part 1 show, and now we're going over all the rest on our part 2 show because of the holiday on Monday and everything. Shipping got a little wonky. Still not everything is here. We are still waiting on Absolute Wonder Woman and Batman that will be showing up tomorrow, but we do still have some stuff to talk about, and we'll explain it as we go.
Yeah, and just want to go ahead and let you know that there are some folks here right now filling up all the pull boxes, which means we weren't able to bring any variant covers with us because they might need those variant covers to put in the pull boxes. So we only have mostly A covers to show you today, except for this one. But you can check the website, infinityflux.net, to see what we already have here. Everything that we have in store is on the website now. So if you want to see the variants, you can just check the website, and the ones we have will be there available to order right now. But yeah, so a bit of a weird week with having to break up the shows and not having everything to show you. And there are some other books that we do have in store that we would have normally talked about, but we just didn't have time because we weren't able to even start reading these until just a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
So a bit of a weird week, but we did the best we could.
Yeah, holiday weeks are always weird, and that has to do with shipments and FedEx, UPS, everything being delayed. But we're still here to bring you the information. So on tomorrow, when you go into your comic book store or shop at infinityflux.net, you know a little bit better about what to expect. But no worries about Absolute Wonder Woman. That will be here in the next shipment. Should be in here tomorrow. And same with the Batman A cover. So don't worry that you're going to miss out on that. It
Right.
will be here.
Yep.
We just don't have those here right now.
Yep.
But let's kick off this show with something we do have here right now, and that is Absolute Martian Manhunter #3. I was very excited about this because we had read the first 2 Absolute Martian Manhunters pretty well in advance of even the series coming out, but this is the first one where I did not know what to expect.
Right.
And let me tell you, this may be my favorite issue so far, and I hope that keeps going. I hope every issue is my next favorite issue. But this one definitely, now that we've got everything established with, setting up the Martian inside of John Jones's head and all of that, we're now getting into what I said in our other show. I kind of hope is every issue because it's a little bit of a procedural type buddy cop situation with John Jones and the Martian. So this begins with an incident that's happening where 24 people, mostly I believe like homeless or people on the street, that kind of thing, are set on fire by 24 different individuals. So it's 24 victims and 24 essentially killers.
Yeah. Wow.
And the weird thing that happens is it all happens simultaneously.
What they do? Like just get them all in a line and just throw a match
They
on
were
'em?
completely across the city,
Yeah, okay.
with no communication between them. And so that is where John Jones comes in to investigate. But now he's got a little help inside of his head,
Yeah.
and he can kind of hear people's thoughts and stuff. So he definitely now has a little bit of a leg up on the investigating. And so we do find out from some of the people who caused these fires, that they really didn't. They said they just suddenly had this urge to do this thing. They feel terrible about it. They're not traditional criminals or anything. Something came over them.
Oh.
And the only thing that they have in common, and only that John Jones and the Martian can see, is there is a little cloud of smoke going around their heads, which definitely builds some of the mystery. And there is the feeling that it has something to do with the White Martians. Now, if you know your history of DC, at least regular universe DC, you know that the big thing that harms Martian Manhunter is fire,
Hmm.
and that has something to do with the destruction, at least before, of his home on Mars and all of that. But what's really interesting in this is the Martian in John Jones's head has a really hard time. It's still learning to communicate. It doesn't have the right words, so it tries its best, but he keeps describing to John Jones is, this has to be the work of the White Martians because the White Martian chose tragedy. And he's like, I don't know any better way of saying that. And he tries to describe who the White Martian is, and John Jones is like, "Is he from where you are?" And he's like, "There's no quantifiable way I can describe to you how far away they are from, but not to do with distance." And it's really cool. It's this very almost like Lovecraftian cosmic horror
Hmm.
idea. Um, but there may be, and there are more fires that happen, but I will leave you with that because I think the reveal in this, not like a reveal of like a character shows up or something, but we kind of learn what may be the instigating thought behind some of these tragic events and what connects them all. And once I got there, it was a really nice like, oh, I get now what happened at the beginning and
Yeah.
all of that. And I just thought it doesn't wrap it up, but you do understand what is going on by the end of this. And I thought it was awesome. There's some great moments with the Martian where, only John Jones can see him, but he's always kind of in the scene doing something
Right.
kind of goofy. One point, like the Martian is sitting with John Jones's son playing with Play-Doh and stuff, which just kind of plays to the original idea of this version of the Martian and stuff. Just a great overall issue, and I can't wait for people to check it out because if you've enjoyed the first two, this one definitely feels like uh, a little bit easier to follow, but still some of the crazy abstract
Yeah.
ideas that this series has had so far.
Yeah. Number two helped solidify this for me, so I'm excited to read this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, and this I think is even better. And I can't wait. I'm so glad that this got. If this was only going to be 6 issues like they originally intended, this would be the halfway point. And
Yeah.
I'm just now like, yes, I
All
now
right.
kind of get the scope of this book. So there is your A cover, and like we said, we only have the A covers for the most part to show for these. But check our website because we will have more on there right
Hmm.
now.
All right. Next, I've got Batman number 160, and this is not the A cover. This is the Lieber Mayho cover, but this is part 3 of Hush 2. And in this one, Hush starts to carry out his plan to weaken Batman and the Bat family by going after people that each one of them care about. There's somebody that Batgirl cares about. There's somebody that Nightwing cares about. So he's going after all of those. I think he refers to them as like their weak spots or something like that.
Mhm.
And he also wants to show the world that Batman bent over backwards to save the Joker's life, but he did not do the same thing for Robin, Jason Todd. There's a point where he says, why didn't Batman call me? I was the world's greatest surgeon. Why didn't Batman call me when Jason got hurt from the Joker?" There's trying to get in Jason's head a little bit. Um, and there are some other characters that enter the fray as well, although kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah,
They just sort of show up,
it's
and
kind of just
it's,
a page turn and like, oh
oh
hi.
yeah, where did you come from? Because you haven't been in this whole thing so far. So this is the next part. We're at the halfway point. Well, we're at the halfway point of the first part of this story, and admittedly, it's a little bit hard to follow because I don't really know what the Hush's goal is,
Mhm.
and why is he doing this, and other characters are kind of acting out of character, and it just feels like there's a lot of the last 2 decades of Batman have been ignored. I don't know. You
Like I
know,
think we talked about when we talked about the first 2 issues, this almost feels like it would take place closer to the end of the first Hush,
right? Yeah,
because there's a lot of like character development that happened for like Jason Todd, even though he wasn't in the first one. He's been through a lot, and this kind of makes him feel like more of the under
yeah,
the Red Hood time period where he's maybe a little closer to the morally gray, but tipping over into not a great person.
Yeah.
And kind of Nightwing and Barbara and stuff are kind of acting more like what they did back then. This doesn't really reflect Nightwing's time as like, this philanthropist in the
Yeah.
city and
Yeah.
or some of the stuff going on now.
Plus, it's a little bit weird that, Hush wants to show the world that Batman didn't save Robin, but the world doesn't really know that there were two different Robins, that there was Dick Grayson and then Jason Todd. And then, when Tim came in, I don't know that it was ever really public knowledge that Batman had a sidekick who died.
Mm-hmm.
So it just feels a little bit strange. The art's great, and there are some big fights in this. We do see some more of the character Silence.
Mm-hmm.
We only saw a little bit of a glimpse of him. I think
we
in
get
the first
a better
part.
idea in this too of like what that character like,
Yeah.
why they're called what they're called and
Right.
stuff. And like you said, the art's really good in this. There is a big one of the things where you said like there's a character that kind of shows up out of nowhere, but it's a beautiful page when they do. And there's also a first appearance of another character that seems like the question, have they been here longer than what Batman knew?
Will we see them again? Because it was very just kind of fleeting. Like, how long has this character been here? I better fight them. And then they just disappeared.
Yeah, so we'll see. I wonder if as the series goes on, there will be kind of some retroactive explanations for some things of like, hey, where were certain characters before they appeared in this issue?
Right.
So we'll have to see because this is only the third part of that story.
Yeah, definitely. So, little bit strange,
Yeah.
a little bit of a weird issue of Hush 2, but I still want to see where it goes because I want to know what the heck is
What's going on?
Why is Hush even doing any of this in the first place? I will say that we actually do get Hush in this.
Yes.
Hush hasn't been in the first two parts of Hush 2, but he's finally in
quite
this.
a bit.
Yeah.
Did Hush always whisper?
I think so.
Okay.
That's why it's called Hush.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's interesting when it's brought up, or something like, you can talk. I think Jason Todd says something like, you can speak up, like, we're good now.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do your little shtick.
So, so if you've been getting the other parts, don't miss this one. Check the website for the other variants, but for right now, this is the cover we're showing. This doesn't happen in the book, but I wish it had because that would have made it a lot cooler.
So we should have the A covers in for those tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on regular pull for Batman, you'll have it in your box at some point tomorrow. And if you are buying it just from the website, that kind of stuff, keep checking back tomorrow. Like we said, towards the afternoon-ish, I would imagine that gives us time to get it in and sort all of the ones into their regular boxes for subscribers, and then everything else will be up on the website. Yep. But moving on, we have Superman issue 26. So after that huge issue 25, hopefully everybody read it, because some big stuff went down in that one, including Lois Lane losing her Superwoman powers. Yeah. That was a big shock in that. And there has been other bits that this is addressed as they've been going on in the Superman series for a while. Like, Superman has been infected with this red kryptonite that Graf and what's the other ones? Farm, yeah. Kind of infused in his blood that kind of makes him where he's like, oh, don't get too angry.
Yeah, it's like a berserker rage almost.
Yeah. We do see, as you can see on the cover here, some more stuff about that. But a part I really liked in this is, once again, the synergy in the DC books. They actually take Lois to the Watchtower where the Blue Beetles do kind of a scan on Lois to see, like, is there any of that residual power left in you? I won't... There is kind of a definitive answer, but I'm not going to give it away here. But it's a very interesting scene and how Lois takes the news.
Yeah.
Because Lois is also like, I don't have the powers, and I got to get back to like the Daily Planet. This has been fun, but I do have other stuff to do. But Superman's like, are you sure you're okay with it? It's a really interesting scene, and all the interaction between Superman and Lois in this, I think, is really, really good. The other big part of this is Lena Luthor confronting her father, Lex Luthor, about, you had been hiding this evil Lex Luthor, and there's a lot going on here because this is still kind of our Lex Luthor with the beard that is a little bit nicer than the darker version that there was a clone of and all of that. But there's still, Lena feels very betrayed, and she confronts Lex about like, hey, you abandoned me, you sent me to live in an island with your mom, and all of this stuff. That's really interesting. But then turn around, and then there's Mercy Graves, who is now running Supercore, who we learned is actually a pretty bad person as well.
Hmm.
So everyone has been betrayed in this
Right.
situation. But Mercy might have a deal for Lena, and you'll have to read it to find out about that. There is also multiple interludes in this, kind of one-page interludes, for some of the big stories that we've been teased along the way. I'll say one of them does involve those super core weapons that they found out about that were like space guns with the Superman logo on them and stuff, and that Supercore was trying to market out to
Hmm.
people to make money. Maybe those got further than what the characters originally knew. There is also something else pretty significant that does go back all the way to the DC All In special and some of the characters we saw in that. So I'll tease you with that. But overall, this was a great issue of Superman. I really like the stuff they're doing with, can Superman trust Lex Luthor? He might have to still to solve maybe this red kryptonite problem, but there's some stuff going down, and I can't wait to see what is next for this. There's like multiple artists on this as well.
Oh,
There's
okay.
Eddie Barrows, Sean Isaacs, Juan Ferreira. So you can tell by that it's kind of broken up into different
Yeah.
sections, but I still think it worked really well. So that is your A cover, and you get a little hint of that red kryptonite overload that Superman might be getting.
All right. Well, I've got Mr. Terrific Year One, Number One. I think this is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. This is written by Al Letson, and the art is by Valentine Delandro. And just like it sounds, this is Mr. Terrific's Year One. This is his origin, but much more fleshed out than I think we've had before. And it's good for me because I know Michael Holt, Mr. Terrific, but I don't know a lot about his time before.
Yeah,
Like to me, in my mind, he's just always been there, you
yep.
know. But I know that's not the case. So what we learned in this one is that Michael Holt had a wife. Her name was Paula, and she passed away. And when that happened, he sold his company to a tech billionaire named Athena Prescott. And then after that, he became a bit of a shut-in, a bit of a recluse. He has a friend who tries to like get him out, but he likes to stay, and just like tinker with his gadgets and stuff like that, just sort of keep to himself. So, Athena Prescott bought his company and she starts conducting experiments there. But the experiments that she's conducting, they are making people in the surrounding area sick. So this is a very like grounded story, very street level story. It's not big fantastical, at least not yet. So Michael Holt eventually realizes that there is something shady going on because originally, he knows a little bit about this, but he's like, you know what, that doesn't involve me. I'm out of it. She's running the company now, but it becomes too much for him to ignore. So he's like, I do need to look into this, and I've got my athletic ability and a few gadgets that can help me out. So he is going to go out and try to figure out what is going on. But of course, it's much easier said than done. He's going to run into some problems. He might need to get a little bit of help with what he's doing. But yeah, so just the first of a 5-issue series to just really tell us, really expand on, what his origin is like. We don't really see him wear a suit in this, but I think over the course of this miniseries, we will see him wear like older versions
Mm.
of what he's got on right here with the goggles and everything. So
I think that's cool because, yeah, like you said, if you were to ask me like stuff about Mr. Drift, I'd be like, yeah. If you're like, tell me his origin, and be like,
yeah,
I don't
I don't know.
really know,
Yeah.
and I don't know at what point was that ever really dug into. It may have been mentioned in
Yeah.
in different series or whatever, but I think it's a really cool idea, especially with him being in the Superman movie, to
Right.
give people an idea of like, hey, really, what is a good like point at that and be like, you want to read Mr. Terrific and learn about him? Here's a good series for that.
Yeah, so good timing. This comes out tomorrow. There'll be another one in June. I don't know. I guess there'll be 2 issues of this out before the movie comes
Mhm.
out. But yeah, great jumping on point if you want to know, about Mr. Terrific and his backstory. Definitely check this one out.
Yeah, you've got the Metamorpho series if you want to know about him.
Yep.
You've got Green Lantern Corps if you want to know about a little bit more about Guy Gardner and see
Yep.
him in action. All the characters that are going to be in Superman, there's pretty much a place to get
Yeah. There's
those.
a Superman book too, right?
Oh,
They probably should
I
make
don't
one if
remember.
there
Did I
isn't
talk
one.
about it somewhere?
Yeah,
And we got that crypto book coming out,
that's right.
which I read the first issue, and that's really
Okay.
fun. Okay, next up for me, I have G.I. Joe issue number 7. This is one I definitely wanted to talk about because we always bring it up, but we were on a retailer call with Robert Kirkman and the whole kind of team behind the Energon universe, and they teased a lot of stuff coming. And this is one of the ones they wanted to highlight is this is a kind of a little bit of a standalone issue introducing Beachhead to the Energon universe. And I really, really like this issue because, for one, this, Beachhead was always like the trainer of new recruits and that kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
That is addressed in here, but it sounds like, this version of Beachhead, I always thought him a little bit younger of a character. But this one sounds like he's trained a lot of people in his day, and he's kind of now out doing his own missions. We don't really know who he's working for because he's not working for G.I. Joe at the beginning of this. But he is on a mission to retrieve an item. And this item was, I believe, auctioned off or something to this billionaire. And we don't know in the beginning what this is, but we know it's something that this guy does not need to have. It's not good. And Beachhead is going to infiltrate this guy's mansion and get it out. And it's really fun because Beachhead talks about, like, I've been staked out. I don't know when this package was supposed to arrive at his house, so I've been staked out here for 3 days and stuff. And it's really cool. Like, you get inside Beachhead, really focusing on one character. You get inside his mind a
Hmm.
lot. Um, but this package does get delivered, and it's in a big crate. So a big mystery in this too is what's in the box. Uh, that goes
What's in the
that takes
box?
up way
Yeah,
too
Gwyneth
much.
Paltrow's head.
Um, but it's not as easy of a job as he initially thought because his original intel was that no one was going to be home, that he could just get this and get out. And he didn't know it was going to be so big as well. But come to find out, this billionaire has a couple of ladies over who are, pretty much civilians at the time. And he doesn't want to cause any casualties or anything
Hmm.
like that. So it's going to be a little bit more technical of a get in and get out than he thought. I will say you do learn what's in the box in this, and you see on the cover Flint is on
You guys
there.
gonna ask if he was in it?
Flint does show up, and this is setting up maybe some more Night Force
Okay.
stuff for GI Joe. And you
So
really,
does this relate back to the free comic book day book from last year,
Mhm.
where Hawk says, "I'm creating another team," and that Duke doesn't know about?
Yes, because this does kind of have a cold open with Hawk and
Okay.
CoverGirl, where you do find out a little bit more about what Night Force is.
Is it CoverGirl or Lady? I thought it was Lady J in that
It's
issue.
CoverGirl in this.
Okay.
I won't say that Lady J is not in this issue,
Okay.
but
But I
mean,
won't say that she is. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know.
But this is really cool, and it does seem like they are setting up. I would love if there was a spin-off book with G.I. Joe Night Force
Yeah.
with a certain team that they are building for this and what this team's jobs and goals are.
Make Tiger Force, you cowards.
I know. I would love Tiger Force. I want the toxic ones with all their wild
right.
colors.
I want
all
the
that.
bright orange outfits. Yeah.
But now, especially since like how they portray Beachhead in this, I'm now like, this might be my new. I've always loved Beachhead, but it's like this might be my character in this series that I want to see the most.
Right.
Because really cool, fun surprises in this, and like I'll be talking about Void Rivals here in a minute, but. We say this anytime we talk about the Energon Universe stuff. Read the letters page.
Yeah.
Because Robert Kirkman goes into, or Joshua Williamson goes into in this one about bringing Beachhead into this and what roles some of these characters are going to be playing going forward. Very, very cool. I really like this issue. So that is G.I. Joe number 7. And very good.
All right, next up is this one shot from Image. This is called Mommy Blog. There's the full title right there. This is written by Marguerite Bennett, and the art is by Eleonora Carlini. And this is about this woman on the cover here. Her name is Astrid, and she is this aspiring social media super mommy, and who desperately wants the other moms in her neighborhood to like her. And a lot of this, we see a lot in this issue. Like she has like, I guess she's doing like a YouTube channel or something, and she has all these articles how to get wine out of your white clothes and that kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. She has all these like mommy tips, and she does all these videos and that kind of thing. Um, and yeah, she kind of lives in a more, I guess, affluent neighborhood, and there's a group of moms that they all have their kids that know each other, and she wants all that. She wants to get in good with that group. However, if you can't tell from this cover, there's something a little bit off about her. She definitely has a dark streak, and we see some of that in this book, and there's also some that is hinted at as well. There is a past that is hinted at. Maybe there's a reason that they now live in the suburbs instead of the city where they used to live. So children around the neighborhood start going missing, and she is determined to find them. Of course, she wants to help the kids, but more than that, she just wants to improve her own image and look like a hero. And this, if I save these kids, then the moms will definitely let me in their group and that kind of thing. And she is convinced that she knows who this predator is that's taking the kids, and she is determined to prove it no matter who gets in her way. And don't give this book to kids. It is a little bit. It's quite a bit bloody. There are some. So there, it is a mature book. But yeah, she's definitely convinced that she knows who it is. Maybe she's right, maybe she's wrong, or maybe there's something else going on. I'll let you read it. But yeah, just an interesting one shot. I do feel like that. This maybe could have been a mini series because there is a little bit of a mystery in this that's a little bit kind of revealed at the end, and it I can see this going like 5 issues and building this mystery of who is this predator, who is taking the kids, and at the end it's revealed, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. So, but like you said too, before this, we were talking about this, and it's like it is nice that we can just have one shots as
Yeah.
well. You just get a book, you read the whole thing, and you get the nice big story. So I could have seen this gone either way, but yeah, this definitely has some chops there for a mini series, and maybe this won't be the last time we see this character. Maybe this has enough legs to create another story. I'll let you read that for yourself. But yeah, just a really cool one shot from Image. And yeah, that's the A cover. I don't know if there's any variants at all for
I
this one.
don't think
This
there
may be the
was.
only cover, regardless of what we have. But yeah, check it out.
Well, I have a new indie book. I believe this is going to be a mini series called The Pale Knight. And I already love like medieval stuff and creepy stuff, and this is right down my alley. I really enjoyed this. This is by Peter Milligan. I mean, famous longtime creator. It's great to see Peter Milligan writing a new thing. And the art is by Val Rodriguez. And this is set in 1349. And this follows a knight. He's one of England's best knights. His name is Sir Hugh de Grey, and he is returning from serving in the war in France, which is now known as the Hundred-Year War with England and France. And also going on this time is the kind of emergence of the Black Plague sweeping across Europe. So uh, this whole first issue is basically them traveling, trying to travel back to their home in England. He's with some other knights. There's a lot of tension between the knights, and he feels a lot of guilt. Secretly, he kind of holds it in, and he's always kind of looking for repentance for some of the stuff that he did in this war. Uh, but he kind of tries to push that out of his mind, but it does kind of creep up, especially in his dreams. He has dreams of some of the stuff that he did in France, and there's some other characters along the way that are, traveling with them and everything. But every time they make a stop at a port or something on the way back to England, um, what they were used to finding is vendors and shops and bustling streets and all of that, but now they're finding basically silence and death, and they say like funeral bells chiming and all of that as this plague is sweeping across. Um, and his one big worry is that the plague has reached his family. Now, there's some people who it's not affecting, or that are okay, they're still around, but it's been pretty horrific. Uh, let's just say, without giving it away, that it has touched part of his family. It's not really a spoiler to say he does make it back to his home in England, but the plague has reached there, and he very much feels like it's happened because of his sins back in France during the war, and he prays that uh, it takes him instead of someone else. But that prayer is not answered by God, but by a creepy voice. It might be death itself,
Whoa.
who says, I can swing this, but I need you to do something for me first." So he's given a task by death to save someone he loves, and yeah, that's just kind of like the kickoff for the series, and I thought it was really really cool. I love the time period setting. I love the mix of like real historic events mixed with some dark fantasy.
Hmm.
I thought that was really cool. There are some other supporting characters I didn't get into, but that play a pretty significant role in this as well. And yeah, I thought it was atmospheric. It was really cool that way. I thought the art at first was like, oh, it's kind of scratchy and all that, but as I got into it, it definitely worked with the style of story and everything. So yeah, I recommend it. This is from Mad Cave. I thought it was really cool. So if you're kind of a medieval like fan, like not like hard fantasy like elves and stuff, but this kind of dark fantasy
Yeah.
set within a realistic world, definitely try out Pale Knight. There's a reason why he's also called that. He's called that before he does something for
Just
death.
doesn't get out in the sun enough.
Also might be that he gets seasick.
Oh, that too. All right. Well, next up, I have another new miniseries from Image. This is called Dark Honor. This is the first issue here. This is written by K.S. Bruce and Brian Decubelis, and the art is by Fico Osio. And this was actually written. This was intended to be a screenplay. It was written back in 2020 during COVID-19 and all the lockdowns and everything. And then it was determined to make this a comic book instead, and it was adapted to comic form by Ethan Sachs. And this is actually set in 2020 during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that actually, it may seem a little bit weird. Like, why do they bother doing that? But again, it was actually written back then. And it actually serves kind of a purpose in the story because this is set in New York City, but the city is empty. Like, because everybody was sheltering in place, like not going out, things like that. So it really kind of helps set the tone of this story. And then the story itself is about this madman. His name is Grigor. He is moving in on the five crime families of New York. He's basically declaring war on all of them because he wants to claim New York for his own, and then more after that. And so these five families, they reach out to this group known as the Hundred, and they're kind of like this group that has existed for a century or more, and they're kind of like this group of assassins, that kind of thing. But however, over the course of the last several years, their numbers have thinned out as well. And then that's where this woman comes in. Her name is Rain, and she is the daughter of the leader of the Hundred, and she might be the only one who can defeat Grigor. It's established here that she can take care of herself. She can handle herself. She was actually in prison serving a 5-year sentence, but again, because this was set during COVID-19, she got out after 3 years because uh, you know of health reasons, and they wanted to. Because of close quarters and that kind of thing, the slightly less violent offenders, they want to go ahead and let them out. So that's how she was able to get out early. So not a lot of there's a little bit of action at the beginning of this, showing Grigor like how much of a madman he is, actually, attacking some of these families. But then when we meet her, we see her in a prison brawl. But other than that, it's actually just setting up who these characters are, and the setting and everything, and who the Hundred are, that kind of thing. So a bit of a setup issue. I think the next issue is where things are really going to get kicked off, with her going up against Grigor, trying to figure out how to take him down, that kind of thing. But yeah, a really cool, new crime noir kind of book. Great artwork, and yeah, it should
Yeah, I
be really
love
cool.
Fico Osio's art.
Yeah, yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the other one that he did, Kill All Immortals.
Yep.
That one was a little bit more fantastical because, it was about immortal Vikings, that kind of thing. This isn't anything like that, but it does feature, a really tough heroine that's she's the daughter of somebody who needs to take down some other guy. So it gives me vibes of that. If you read that, then definitely check this out because it has a similar feel to it. And if you didn't check that out, but you read this and like it, then go check out Kill All Our Mortals because it, like I said, they just both feel the same. Just a really cool crime story. And that's your A cover.
I think that one might only also have one cover.
Oh, okay.
Well, next up for me, I have Void Rivals number 19. And again, a broken record on that retailer call. This was another one that they wanted to point out as being a big issue coming up because the breakout star of Void Rivals was the Skunkzoid, which, once again, in the letters pages, Robert Kirkman talks about the Skunkzoid when he introduced him. I think it was in issue 2 or issue 3.
It was early on, yeah.
Yeah, he talked about, like, I wanted to find a character that people would have to, like, Google search who is Skunkzoid and find out, oh, he played a pretty significant role in season 3 of Transformers. He was in that a lot.
I do not remember that.
Yeah, he wanted him, like, a character that he could do some stuff with and it would be fun.
Yeah.
But he said he had, like, no idea that this character, like, he's like, every time I wrote him, I would just think about what's his backstory, what's all this. And, that definitely has been a very memorable character through this series. And this issue is the Skunkzoid issue. So this is also significant because this is Connor Hughes' first issue doing interiors for the series. He is the new ongoing artist for the book, which it looks great. But if you remember a few issues back, the Skunkzoid actually looked like he died, like a pretty irreparable way. He was bifurcated pretty much. But that does get addressed in here because this doesn't take place before that. This takes place after it. How did he survive? That is something that is a big part of this. And I don't want to say too much because a lot of this issue is big surprises, not only for Skunkzoid, but for the Energon universe. I will say that this is also the first appearance in the Energon universes of Wreck-Gar and the Junkions. Is that how it is?
Junkions.
Junkions. Yeah. But he's written just like you remember, where he kind of talks like he's constantly getting a TV signal. And
right.
I think the first, like, the opening scenes is him saying, like, come down, the sale only lasts for 24 hours and all stuff like that. It's really, really fun. But Skunkzoid does run into a foe that he thought he had dealt with previously, and another new character enters, and that kind of sets up what feels like you could have a Skunkzoid series after this, because by the last page, there's something pretty significant that happens that Robert Kirkman brings up in the letters page. It's like, yeah, so you see, there's gonna be more of this character as well. Really, really fun issue. Probably one of my favorite issues in a while. It has a little bit lighter tone to it, but also does a lot of world building as well.
Yeah.
Really, really fun issue with Void Rivals issue number 19. And check the website for variants.
All right, well, my last one is Justice League Unlimited number 7, and this is part 5 of the We Are Yesterday crossover with Batman, Superman, World's Finest. I think it's only 6 parts, right? So this should be the next to last part, or maybe there's like a prologue or something after that. There might be something afterwards, but we're getting near the end of this. And in this one, if you read the previous part, which I believe was the Batman, Superman
annual.
No, I think it was World's Finest number 39, I believe was the previous one. The various members of the Justice League are scattered throughout time. They're trapped in different eras. I think Firestorm is stuck back in prehistoric times with the dinosaurs, that kind of thing. And with all the heroes gone, the Legion of Doom has begun their siege of the Watchtower, which will give them access to all kinds of stuff that they need to take over the world. And it's up to one hero to kind of bring everybody back together to recall all the heroes from all their different eras and to take on the Justice League. But that hero is not who you think it might be. Somebody who maybe it doesn't seem like they could do something like
Yeah.
this, but they are able to figure it out. So there's something very interesting with this involving Grodd that happens near the end that I wonder if that will have larger ramifications in this book or maybe later on in the DC universe. I'm not really sure yet, but yeah, this is a really fun. This whole thing has just felt like a really fun Silver Age story. Lots of wackiness with the old school Legion of Doom coming into the present Batman, Superman throwing back to the past, and all this kind of weird, time travel stuff. It's felt like a really fun Silver Age book,
And
and this is
the
the same.
final page is something pretty
Yeah,
awesome that
yeah,
I really want to see play out in the next issue.
yeah.
And you're saying like, oh, this will end with the next issue, or is there an epilogue or whatever? But I feel like what this series and what Mark Waid has done so well is nothing feels like it's over now. That doesn't matter. So I imagine
Right.
there's going to be ramifications of stuff that happen here for a while,
Yeah,
and um, that stuff playing out. I would love to go back and see like did something happen while one of them was in the past, or
yeah,
what happened with Firestorm and the all that.
yeah.
Like it feels like there's a lot of branching stories that could come out of that as well. But yeah, there is a one shot special coming out in uh, what I
You
say
say July,
July,
I
I
think.
believe. That feels like this definitely plays a part
Yeah,
towards. So yeah, that might be kind of your epilogue or
yeah,
your uh, what's happening with some of these characters.
yep. So definitely don't, if you've been reading all the other parts, part 5 comes out tomorrow. Do not miss it. There's your A cover. Oh, this is your nice Dan Mora A cover. I think this is connecting too,
Yeah,
right, with the next part. So yeah, that looks
it's cool
great.
that A covers are connecting
Yeah.
too. Well, last up for me is Hyde Street. This is Hyde Street number 6. And this is a really fun issue because I feel like now, we had a lot of issues that were kind of spotlights on characters and
Hmm.
stuff. But this really, I feel like it was one of the first issues that is building a spine of a story for this series because Pranky, the horrible little Boy Scout, um, is kind of overstepping his bounds. So you have all of these other citizens of Hyde Street, Mr. X-Ray and Miss Goodbody, and some of these other ones who do really want to get out of Hyde Street by, I think they've got to get what 10,000 souls,
I thought it was maybe 20,000,
something
something
like
like
that.
that. Yeah.
They have a souls limit that they
Yeah.
need to get so they can be released because of the game master or whatever, the scorekeeper, the
Scorekeeper. Yeah.
scorekeeper. Um, but anytime one of these citizens tries to claim a soul, Pranky basically gets it before them
Yeah.
in a very like you know sinister way of like you're never gonna get out of here because I
Didn't
keep doing this.
didn't we see in an early issue that he has enough, but
Oh yeah,
he
he even
doesn't want to
brings that up.
leave?
He's got like 8,000 over what he needs or
Right.
something like that. Uh, but he still is just keeping everyone else. And a big thing is Mr. X-Ray has a daughter uh, on the outside,
Oh,
whatever
okay.
he wants to get back to. And so but he can't get these souls. And we actually see at the beginning that Miss Goodbody is about to, she's very close to being free, but Pranky every time gets in the way, and maybe even has found a way to make it where she'll never get another soul again and be stuck
Oh
on
my
Hyde
gosh.
Street forever.
Wow.
So it's pretty sinister, and it's fun kind of seeing these characters that you initially think of as pretty evil characters, but there's a hierarchy of like how evil are you. So Mr. X-Ray is looking to build like not a team, but like allies to stop Pranky from doing this so they can get out. And we do find out a few more of the citizens of Hyde Street that we have not met so far. Maybe just names you saw on the
Oh yeah, yeah,
scoreboard.
yeah.
He actually does go through a few of those, and we learn a bit more about those, which I thought was really, really cool. Um, but there is an incident that happens where a whole busload of people show up on Hyde Street with just fresh souls ready to collect,
Hmm.
and Mr. X-Ray is there to take them up on it. And it is so it's fun because you have this through story, but you also have kind of a classic Hyde Street story of uh, these weird machinations of how
Yeah.
they collect these souls. And once again, you see these people, and you're like, I don't really feel bad for them. They're pretty
Yeah.
horrible people. But overall, a great issue, and very cool that we are building kind of a narrative other than just kind of one-shot issues about
Yeah.
all these. There's actually, a story going on here with these characters that I thought was really, really fun. So that is, and there's that scene does happen in there. So that is Hyde Street number 6, and yeah, it was a great issue of the series. And that is it for our uh, early comics review video spotlighting on DC Image, Mad Cave, and more.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sans variants.
Sans variants, yeah. So a little wonky this week for the show, but we did what we could, and we read the books that we were able to read
Yep.
and everything. And like we said, everything should be smoothed over tomorrow, and Absolute Wonder Woman will be there, and the Batman A cover will be there at some point tomorrow. So keep checking back. If you need more reason to check infinityflux.net, there you go. But there is all these books we talked about, plus their variants on the website available right now, so you can go ahead and start ordering them while supplies last. So it was a really interesting week of books, especially breaking it up into multiple days. I
Yeah.
felt like I hyper focused on
Right.
books this week. But check out our first video to see all of the Marvel and that kind of stuff, and then this one for the DC stuff. And hopefully, because as a holiday is a little off, but next week we'll be back to a semi-normal week. I don't know if there's a such thing as a normal week, but it'll be as close to one as we can get.
Yeah.
And yeah, as we are getting closer and closer to summer, there's some big stuff on the horizon that I can't wait for.
They just announced the Batman Deadpool.
Yes, Batman
coming in
Deadpool,
September. Holy cow.
Batman Deadpool and Deadpool Batman.
That's right.
So, I mean, I was talking to the owners of the store and everything, being like, man, Battle Beast was big. How big is this going to be?
Yeah.
Like, this is a killer year for comics. Plus, I think we heard that there are going to be other one-shots other than that one as well. So, man, we've got a lot to... When do we do our next letters page?
Tomorrow.
Yeah. We're going to have a lot to talk about.
That's right.
So, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, all of that good stuff, because rain or shine or books or no books or whatever, we are here bringing you the comic goodness. And until tomorrow with some more videos,
See ya.